Hey everybody, I am so excited to be here announcing our brand new Victory Hamilton Mill worship pastor, Gregory David. And as we just get a second, I just wanted to bring this to you so you would get to know him a little bit just over the next few minutes, so that when you see him on the weekend, when you see him on the stage, when you see him in a small group, he wouldn't just be a face, you'd actually get to know a little bit of who he is. So Gregory, you ready for a few questions?
I'm
gonna shotgun a few off here for you, okay?
Yeah.
Favorite color?
Black. It's so slimming.
Wow, like Johnny Cash. All right, favorite food?
I'm gonna have to give you a couple of my favorites. A hot Krispy Kreme. Hot McDonald's fries. Pizza from Alino's at Mall of Georgia.
All right. Wow, you're like prepared.
A really well cooked prime rib, medium with a little bit of pink in it. Yeah.
Wow. We need to eat together.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
We do.
Favorite movie?
I'm gonna say, since we're Christmas season, Home Alone, 1 or 2. I love them both.
All right.
They're great.
Yes. Okay. All right. What is your anniversary date?
October 14th. It was the year 2000. Just kind of told
thing
on
you
myself.
knew that off the cuff.
You're trying to get me in
Yeah,
trouble.
I was going to see. So your wife's name?
Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
So 30-second version of how you met.
We met in a ministry school that the church that we were attending actually was the very first church I was ever on staff at. There was a ministry school that church conducted, and we were the only 2 young people in that class. Kelly's mom was in that class as well, and she kind of played matchmaker and would make
me a wish.
Make awkward comments and be like, But it was totally the Lord, and I fell in love with her hunger for the Lord. That's what made me fall in love with her.
And here we are.
17 years later.
So you have 2 children.
2 kids.
2 daughters.
Selah and Gabriella. Mm-hmm.
All right. 30-second version of why you named them that.
Well, I remember even before we were married, we were just engaged, we were walking around her parents' neighborhood and decided to name Selah Selah. Okay. And then Gabriella we were kind of spitballing names. And Gabriella's name is Gabriella Joy. And so her name means the joy of the Lord is my strength. And so, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Here's one of the big parts. Let's get to a little bit of the meat of this.
Yeah.
Is how Gregory got here on staff is a tremendous story. And I think we could tell this for several hours, but we're going to try and do it in just a handful of minutes. So the background of this for you to know, if you've been a part of Victory for a while, then you'll remember Gregory from a little while back. Mm-hmm. Gregory was at one point the youth worship pastor of our Norcross location. And we've known each other for years and years and years going back. Mm-hmm. And what happened along the way was we just came to a place where there were some changes in the youth department. We looked around and we said, I hate it, but it just doesn't seem like right now there's a place for Gregory on staff. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those rare times when honestly nobody does anything wrong, but you just kind of look and it's like, I just don't see how we can make this happen. And so at that point, you actually went off staff. Mm-hmm. You were released off of staff. Yeah. So that was several years ago. Mm-hmm. So what happened in a nutshell between that moment to you getting back this position right now as the lead worship pastor of Victory Hamilton?
Yeah, thank you for that. You set that up so well. I'm able to look at this whole experience through the lens of God giving me an education. So when I was on staff before, like you said, there was no sin issues, but there were identity issues where I was finding my identity in what I did and not who I was in God. I had no grid for being a son first. No matter what I was doing, I had honestly no grid for serving, loving people, humility. All of those things were buzzwords, but I had no real revelation of those things. This event allowed me to get a serious education in all of those areas. And so we went on staff at a church for about a little over a year. And then when that season ended, the first thing that we said to each other, me and my wife, was, where are we going to go to church? And without hesitation, I said, I want to go back home. I want to be back at Victory. And so we walked through those doors for the first time in about 2 years.
Wow.
And not really sure how we would be received, if it was going to be weird, but we thought, you know what, we're family, and sometimes Thanksgiving's weird, you know? And so we're like, I don't know if this is going to be weird, but I believe this is where we're supposed to be. Yeah. And as soon as we walked through the doors, every fear just subsided by the love that people were showing us. And so through a series of events, the Lord opened up a door of opportunity for me to come on staff in a small way here at this campus on Hamilton Mill in the facilities department, and just doing anything and everything that was needed here. And it was really then that the Lord really began to stir up a heart of love for His house, love for His people, serving, and doing it in a way that just really, I found joy in it. I was finding joy in doing disgusting menial tasks, and I was just finding joy in those moments, and really through that process began to realize that I was still called to pastor, and just we knew we were in the right church, the right place. We knew we didn't want to do ministry anywhere else but here. And then one day, out of the blue, our executive worship pastor, Montel Jordan, gave me a call and invited me out to a park and said, hey, I've been authorized to offer you a full-time worship pastor position. Blew my mind. Was not expecting it. Expecting it, but not expecting it, you know. Really wasn't sure what full-time ministry would look like again for us, but completely blown away that the Lord opened this door, and we just walked through it just excited and expectant of what God was about to do.
So at that point, Gregory kind of went to what we call like a free safety position at Victory, where you're kind of at the middle school, you know, platform in Norcross or up here.
Yeah, whatever's needed. Yeah.
And, you know, we've been without a worship pastor here since April, and just the conversation started stirring. And then when someone brought up Gregory's name, I just was pretty much immediately like, okay, we don't need to pray about it anymore. We don't really even need to talk about it anymore. This is the reality that God has called Gregory to step into the worship pastor position here at Victory Hamilton Mill.
Yeah.
And so I want us to do two things. One, I want us to just kind of, if you can, be inspired a little bit by Gregory's story. Maybe you're in a season of wandering, and Gregory has kind of lived this out in full color of being on staff, off staff, on another staff, and then came back in at a very different position than a worship pastor, but in a facilities position, then onto kind of like a team worship pastor, and now the lead worship pastor. And so that's the second thing I want us to do is together, let's welcome Gregory David as Victory Hamilton Mill's new lead worship pastor here. Awesome. Glad to have you on the team, Gregory.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Honored. Thank you, Pastor.